So thank you again for being willing to invest in our students and be an important part of their summer. I want to go over the leader roles and what those job descriptions look like so we're clear about expectations. You are either a crew leader at camp, some of you are activity leaders, and some of you are what we call our high school assistants. We are so thankful for all of you, and you all have an important role to play. So starting with the activity leaders, going backwards on that sheet, you already have met with me. You're leading our activities, you're guiding the lessons, the Bible lesson or the reading lesson or the science lesson, and you have your supplies. Those of us who have other roles are just there to support you. So let's move on to the crew leaders. You guys are super important. Your main job is to build relationships with our students. They are going to come to know and love you. You are going to be the ones that they feel safe with, the ones that they talk to, the ones that they might share something from their heart in a Bible lesson. So we need you to be there to greet the students. Make sure that you are, at least one person from your group is aware and around the registration table when kids come in, and that you're warmly greeting them and guiding them to the tables where they meet the rest of their team. We need you to make sure that you are engaging with every student. If there's a student who seems to be left out, we're counting on you to notice and help those kids engage, feel welcomed, loved, supported, and help kids build relationships with each other. Talk to them about things they might have in common. Just encourage them to interact with one another. So the next very important thing for a crew leader is I need you to be aware if there are any camper problems, if there are issues between students, if somebody's just having a rough day. You're going to be the ones to notice that and alert me as soon as possible. Also, we are relying on our crew leaders to keep everybody on time. So choose one of the crew leaders to watch the time, to set a timer, a reminder on your phone, and just be ready to say to the physical activity leader or say to the Bible teacher, we have 2 minutes. We're counting on you guys to help keep us on time. We've got 3 different groups rotating through 3 different stations. So crew leaders, please help us stay on time. The next thing is just help keep your group prepared for the next activity. And so you are the ones who guide through transitions. Transitions are hard for kids. Transitions are where we sometimes have behavior issues, where we lose kids mentally or just their attention, right? So if you could help by saying to them, the next thing we're going to do is this, and explain the expectations before you walk out. I need you all to be in a line so that we can walk in a line. We're going to walk in a line to our Bible lesson. Set the expectations verbally, model that for them. Make sure that you have a crew leader in front of your team and a crew leader behind your team when you are moving into transition. Please do not send the children down to the Bible room. They will not walk together safely. Lead them and have someone coming behind to catch up with the stragglers. So just then at the end of the day, make sure there will be a little time for connecting in a small group. Please try to check in with the kids, ask them what was their highlight, what have they learned, and encourage them when you're in small groups. In the Bible time aimed at the end of the day, encourage them to engage with the material. We might need to kind of remind them about those wondering questions, remind them that God wants to be teaching us things, and just ask them, what do you think God might be teaching you today? What did you hear in this Bible lesson? So you guys have an incredible role, and crew leaders, we are so glad you're here. And then the next role would be the high school assistants. And high school assistants, I'm looking here on my computer. I hope you know that you are probably every kid's favorite helper. They look up to you, they think you are so fun and so cool, and they want to be like you. So you guys are our main role models. What you do, the students will do. So in that light, we ask that you just be an incredible example to them, that you participate when it's time to sing, that you do the motions when it's time to do the motions, that you sit and Bow your head when it's time to pray. Just be an incredible example to the kids. When it's time to go out to physical activities, high school assistants, we are relying on you to help us with those things, but also to participate and show the kids that it's fun to do a team building game and then it's fun to interact the way you've been asked to interact. I want to express to you that we are so grateful you're here. We also know that it's hard at your age to stay off of your phone, but I would like for you to not be on your phone at any time during camp. If you think your mom is calling you and you have an emergency, tell your other group that you need to step out of the room to take a very important call. But there would be no time at camp where it would be appropriate for you to play on your phone or to be on your phone outside of an emergency. Thank you for respecting that rule, and we really hope that we don't have to keep reminding you of that. We know that God often works through our high school students, and we're really thankful for your time and dedication this week. It's amazing to see how kids grow and learn as they look up to you and watch you worship and watch you participate and watch you ask questions about the Bible lesson. So thank you so much for being here, and I pray that you are really blessed by your time with us high school students. Great. The next thing we need to talk about is this paper that says, it's yellow in your folder. It says Nathaniel Mission Summer Camp Training, Supervision and Safety of Minors at the top. So I'm going to go through this policy as quickly and clearly as possible. We have a 2-person rule. So what that means is there will be a minimum of 2 ministry safe trained volunteers scheduled to serve in each group. A lot of times there'll be more than 2. When it's necessary, we use a high school student as the second person. And because of that 2-person rule, we do not ever want you to be alone with the camper. There are people floating around, myself included, who can help in the case that maybe there are only 2 of you and one needs to walk a child to the bathroom. Call for another adult. We need you to never be alone with a camper when you are not in a space that is observable by others. Do not leave someone else alone with the camper. Same thing. If a private conversation needs to happen between you and a child, make sure that you do it in sight of other people. Do not enter a bathroom with a camper. If a child needs help with a button or a belt, ask them to come out into the hallway where you can be observed by anyone walking by and assist them with their clothing item. Do not allow 2 children to go into these bathrooms together. Keep the bathroom doors open at all times. The upstairs bathroom at Calvary Church is a 1-person bathroom. It has a door that locks. If a child goes in there, they should be alone with the door locked. And adults, that is the bathroom that we ask that you use. That includes our high school assistants as well. When you need to use the restroom, please go upstairs to the bathroom and lock the door. You do not have permission to get personal information from campers, and you should not ask them for their address or their phone number or their Instagram account. You are not allowed to have personal information of campers. You also do not have permission to make any kind of social media posts or take pictures of our students. Nathaniel Mission representatives are given permission to do that for the benefit of advertising camps and new programs, but our volunteers are not given permission to do that. So please refrain from being on your phone and using your phone, especially to take pictures of our campers, as that is only something that a Nathaniel Mission staff member would be doing for publicity needs. Also, do not bring special gifts or prizes to any one camper or small group of students. Gifts and prizes will be given to the entire group of children at camp so as to prevent grooming behavior and to protect our kids from abusive relationships. I think all of you have been trained through the ministry safe training by now, and you understand that we don't want to create any kind of unhealthy dependency on one adult leader. It's not safe, and we are trying to protect our kids. So please be aware that you are not allowed to ask or require the students to touch you in any kind of way. Physical touch should only be on the back or the shoulders. Hand slaps are great, fist bumps are great, side hugs are acceptable, but children will not ever be asked to physically touch or be involved with other campers or other students. We need to respect kids' physical boundaries. Children should not sit on the laps of volunteers. They are big kids by now. They have to be done with kindergarten to be here. And so we can just remind them, you're really a big kid. You don't need to sit on my lap. Some of them are affectionate, and we don't want to hurt their feelings by refusing their affection. So if a child is hugging you, feel free to pat their back and tell them, I'm so glad you're here. Use lots of encouraging words, but really understand that they're not to be on your back doing piggyback rides. They're not to be on your lap. We just limit the physical touch for the protection of our kids. Okay, so the next section is called accidents and injuries. We always pray that we don't have to deal with this, but we must know what the plan is in case that we do. First of all, come and find me. I will need to complete an accident report for each accident, and then a copy of that report will be given to the parents. Typically, most of our camp injuries are something that can be treated with a Band-Aid, an ice pack. We might have a scraped knee. We might have, a bumped elbow. Sometimes kids collide when they're playing a game and both kids need a little ice pack. We can typically take care of that with our first aid kit. We do have a well-stocked first aid kit in the kitchen at Calvary, and also in the Sunday school room where our things are stored in that cabinet. There would be, if I would need to do an accident report and you were the adult who witnessed it, I would probably ask you to fill one out as well. That might be for something like kids bumping into each other, somebody falling, getting scraped. Please talk with their parents. If you were the one that witnessed it, be willing and ready to talk with their parents about what happened so that they can understand what went on at camp. Keep in mind that we are not authorized to dispense any kind of prescription medication at camp. So if a child comments in some way or asks you for their medicine, we are not allowed to dispense that. We don't give over-the-counter medicine to children without permission from the parents. And if any child would ask you for medication, please come and see me. So then the next section would be serious injuries like broken bones or seizures or something worse. And we just want to remind you to keep calm and to get the rest of the children away from the injured child so that we can keep them calm. And we will speak calmly to the children. We will speak calmly to the child who has been injured. And most of you know you don't move an injured person and you don't leave them alone. You would stay with them and make sure that they're safe, that they're able to talk to you, that they're in a safe position, and then contact a staff member immediately. So that would be myself or Megan Talley if she was on site. I or another staff member will call 911 if necessary. We'll reach out to medical professionals and then the guardians of the children. All staff members and volunteers who are involved in an emergency situation will have to write out an accident report after the emergency and after everything has been taken care of. Disputes and situations. So sometimes there are disputes between students or a difficult situation, maybe at pickup time with an adult telling me that they have permission to pick a child up when in fact they don't. So we just ask that you bring all disputes between students or from any parent immediately to me, and that the leaders who are involved in that would let me know immediately when things happen. If you hear of any child sharing about a threat of violence or a serious situation, maybe a child's talking about harming themselves, that needs to be taken seriously. We always take that seriously and we want to be reporting it immediately. So please let me know if you hear anything like that from any of the students. So moving on to abuse and neglect. our policy is if you see something, say something, and we always want a culture of open communication. Even if you're wrong, it's much better to say, hey, I saw something a little out of the ordinary. Do you think that it's appropriate for a child to mention X, Y, and Z? We just want to have a culture of communication. We've learned, and studies show, that the more people are open to talking about these kinds of things, the safer the children are. So please do not hesitate to bring something to my attention. When there are maybe reports of abuse, we have to report them. Even if it's just a suspicion, we have to follow Kentucky Statute 620.030, and we will follow those procedures by making the report through a phone call or online. And we just ask that if you receive any kind of troubling news or information from a child, or you see something on a child, that you let us know immediately. You tell me or Megan Talley, if she happens to be on site, what you have heard and learned from that child, and we do report that as a suspected incident of child abuse. Moving on to the fun part, managing behavior. So we like to use different signs and symbols to get attention from the kids instead of just yelling, be quiet all the time. When you're with a large group, or even your small group, if it's one of your activity stations and it's time to move to the next one, consider doing something like doing a clapping pattern and letting the kids repeat it back to you. Or if you're in a room with the lights, it's really nice just to turn off the lights and then turn them back on and say, eyes on me. And the kids are used to that at school. The teachers will say, eyes on me, and then the kids will say, eyes on you. And then you explain the transition that we're getting ready for is also, if the kids are just really struggling to be respectful and listen, you can always use one of those signs or symbols. And at camp, sometimes we will teach them this little chant. If I say Jesus loves me and I clap my hands, then the kids are going to say back to me, this I know, clap, clap, clap. So we're each doing a little part of a chant that just gets them their focused attention and helps them quiet down. Feel free to use that or create your own if you want to do that. It's just a better way of managing behavior when the kids are not paying attention or listening. So one of the things we do at summer camp is we have a reward system with stickers. The kids usually enjoy gathering all the stickers they can throughout the week at camp, and this helps us focus on good behavior and keep pointing out the good behavior instead of always pointing out the bad behavior. So our goal is to always remind the kids that you are in this space, you have 3 rules, and that is to be respectful, to be responsible, and to be safe. Those are the same rules they use at school, so they're very familiar with those. They understand what the expectations are. We just need to be good at reminding them. So look for opportunities to reward them with a sticker that they can then put in their folder. They have a page called My Stickers, My Star Stickers, I believe. And they'll be collecting those. We'll make a little contest between the students who can collect the most stickers, and they'll get prizes for their stickers. So if you see someone being really respectful during a quiet time, they're listening well, name it. Not in the middle of the quiet time, but as they're transitioning, you will say, student, you were so respectful and listening. Johnny, here's a sticker. And they'll quickly put it in their folder as they have those with them in their backpacks. If you see a student being responsible, and point it out to them. Say, I really appreciate how responsible you were when you went back and picked up that trash. Thank you for taking care of our space. Here's a sticker. Anything that you can reward, point it out and encourage them and affirm them. And then also we talk about being safe. So it's safe to walk inside the church. It's safe to walk up the stairs holding the rail. There will be a lot of kids who struggle with that part, so it's great to just say, I noticed 3 people walking with their hand on the rail up the stairs. Thank you for being safe in our space, and give them a sticker. keeping their hands to themselves, keeping their feet to themselves. You can always encourage them by giving them a sticker, and then they just have that desire to get more stickers. So that our reward system usually helps with behavior. On Monday, in your crew groups, we need you to go over that responsible, respectful, safe list of rules before you transition to your next activity. And I would ask that you do that throughout the day Monday, just to help them become more familiar with our expectations. Talk to them about what it looks like to move in a respectful way. Talk to them what it looks like to be responsible when we're in our reading station. If Miss Martha asks us to read 2 pages, let's be responsible and follow directions. These are just examples. Talk to them about how it looks to be respectful in the classroom, and do we need to help clean up supplies? Do we need to help pass things out? And the first day, it's going to take a little bit more time explaining that. By Wednesday, they probably know, and you can just point out and encourage the ones that you see who are doing those responsible, respectful, safe things, and help them to continue to do it. So if you do have a difficult situation with a student, I would just encourage you to do some simple things. First of all, make contact with them and use their name. It helps them because sometimes they might not know who you're talking to. So just come close to them, use proximity, sit down next to them if there's a space, and tell them that if they keep doing that behavior, that they will get a warning. So if that continues, then you need to say, this is your warning, and next time you'll have to take a time out from our activities. So our goal is to give kids a reminder that their behavior is inappropriate, and if they need to be asked again or redirected again, they will get a warning. But after they have gotten a warning, then they need to take a time out if they continue to engage in the problematic behavior. So, for example, we are in a Bible lesson and you have a student bothering another student, and you say, please stop, that's not respectful to our speaker, and you're not being responsible with the way you're using your hands. For example, if they continue to do that, you need to look at them and say their name and say, I have to give you a warning. Next time you will have a timeout. And then if they continue, then you will say, you need a timeout. And we remove the children from the group at that point, and if possible, come and find me, send someone to get me so that I can have a conversation with the child. I want to just encourage you that if the behavior really becomes problematic, come and find me before it gets out of hand or before you feel incredibly frustrated. I usually have pretty good rapport, and the kids understand that I'm in a leadership position and I can reach out to their parents and ask that parents come, or they don't get to come back to camp. We want to stay on top of this. We want every kid to feel safe and respected. So that means we help take control of any kind of problematic behavior that might put someone else in danger. So please help us with that. Don't hesitate to come and get me when there is an issue. We want to stay on top of it and not let it get out of hand. I can't reiterate that enough. I really don't want you to tell me at the end of the week that this certain child has been misbehaving all week and you just didn't want to hurt his feelings. Be on top of it. Think of yourself as a school teacher this week. You got to start with a strict attitude and help keep everybody safe at camp. So then the next thing I want to go over is just to remind you that we are encouraging students. We are really trying to promote literacy at camp. There is a reading station, and so that's a focused reading lesson, but we also have books on our tables. We want them to be reading when they come in, read with a partner, read with a grown-up, and at the end of the day, they get to take a book home. I'll continue to rotate the books and put new books out on the tables. Mostly they are aged grade level appropriate, but if your child wants a different book from a different table, that is no problem. try to send a book home with a kid every single day. So at least they're taking home 3 or 4 books during camp. We would love for them to have more books at home to read. And then the other thing is that we need to encourage them to drink water. It gets so hot out here. We do have activity time outside, and some kids don't come to camp hydrated. Honestly, a lot of them just wake up by noon and come here, and so they're not hydrated. Please encourage them to drink. Anytime you have a little break, there will be an opportunity for kids to take a drink, and they're supposed to carry their water bottle in their backpack with them at all times, so they don't need to leave the group to get a drink. They can stay with you and drink from their water bottle. Also remember, never be alone with a student. There's no reason to be alone with the student. It's not appropriate to be alone with our student. Please help us protect our kids and protect you from anything that might look like it could be dangerous. We are so thankful again that you're here, and we are excited about what God's going to do during our camp this year.